Well, I'm on my way home from where? Let me see. Woke up in Chicago, flew to Northfield Park, train 2, drove to the Meadows, drove 2. So I'm on my own. Technically, I'm on my way home from Pennsylvania right now. Be home around 9 o'clock tonight. Should be in time to tuck in the kiddies. I wanted just to cool down a little bit. You know, I'm a spoiled brat sometimes too. Our horses have been running so hot that Bomb Hugger was a little flat, and I was a little pissed off, to be honest. But I knew maybe past the quarter, she just didn't feel as sharp as I thought she might. Now, did that stiff training trip I gave her last week, did that play a role? Saturday back? No, it shouldn't have. But maybe she cramped up a little bit. Maybe something else going on. They scoped her. There was a little bit of mucus, but she didn't feel right from the start. Mechanically, she was fine. Just she didn't feel like she was on her toes. So it's not the end of the world. Those things happen. Not the mile I'd like to be going into a stake race with. But at the same token, she's a pretty experienced girl now, and I think we just clean up whatever's bothering her. We drew her blood. We'll run some fluids into her tomorrow. You know, typical stuff. We didn't draw her blood. We'll draw her blood Monday morning, and I think Monday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Morris said he can pick her up and take her down to Saratoga. So she'll hang out at Mark Beckwith's and prep for her stake race in Saratoga. So, as I said, we've been running so hot. When you have a horse finish 5th, you know, a 3-year-old finish 5th, and with aged horses, I can come on here and say, you know, she's 3 and they're older, more experienced. But I really thought that she'd mop them today. I really thought I thought she was coming in good. She trained so good last week. Maybe too good last week. So if that's so, then that's on me. That will show up in her blood. You're going to see a slightly elevated AST. And it won't be that CK will be down low, but that AST, that old tie-up, will still be up there. At that point, I'm going to have to cast the blame upon my own self. So we'll see what happens with her, but I highly doubt there's anything that can't be fixed within days. So I suspect she'll come into Saratoga tight, not the flashy, you know, shiny mile that we wanted, but she'll come into Saratoga tight for the 17th, I believe, is her stake race. You know, we were talking about the luck we've had. And I've done this the last few weeks, just kind of write down to refresh my memory, because stuff gets missed. I didn't even know this till I saw a question from somebody on social media the other day. How many babies of yours have taken lifetime marks already? 2-year-olds. I didn't know the answer. So lifetime marks? 19. We have 19 2-year-olds that have taken lifetime marks already. Now, granted, a couple of those were in qualifiers, but they are lifetime marks. But 19 of our babies have already taken lifetime marks. I wrote down a list of horses that either are racing really good right now, on their way to racing really good, or very intriguing heading into the latter part of the summer. Horses like Merchant Man, Cutie Cumber, that we haven't even seen surface yet. You know, horses like Brace for Landing that we're trying to get polished, and I think we're right on the right track with this guy for this week. Jason said he saw a considerable difference in him just in his jogging today from the new footwear and the work we did on him. So I think we're definitely on the right track. But even I was surprised. I had to count it 3 times. 19 of our 2-year-olds have lifetime marks already. That's pretty impressive. Now, that isn't a pat yourself on the back moment. That's just impressive in general. 19 of our 2-year-olds. Anyway, we're off to a great summer. You guys know that. You know, and aside from our 2-year-olds, we'll talk about the 2-year-olds in a little bit. But aside from them, you know, so proud of what we've built and what you've allowed us to build over the last year. You know, here's a horse at Kings County. He's already won the Open in Scioto. We've won the Open in Scioto. We've raced in the Opens in what? Toronto, Scioto, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, New York. Had a pretty good run. You know, you look at a horse like Kings County, 52-1 trotter that we bought. He's been a very, very good horse for us. And on the pacing side, you got Patrick the Piranha. This horse has won, like, what, 4 out of 6 starts in 151 or faster in the Open, to the point where he got beat in Saratoga. He got beat the start before he went to Saratoga, and they still assigned him the 8-hole, and he still won last week. I'm surprised they let him back in this week. Super excited, obviously, to watch Patrick the Piranha race. Mark Beckwith and quite frankly Bruce Ranger have done an incredible job with this horse. The way Bruce drives him, I got to be honest, I never really watched Bruce Ranger because I didn't watch a ton of Pompano and stuff like that. I just didn't. I've never met the man that I know of. I may have met him in passing or shook his hand, but I can't really say that I know him at all. Man, he's won that many and won like a billion races. I can see why. A guy's got a really good set of hands, even for an older gentleman. Man, he's really sharp horseman. You can tell when he's sitting in the bike. It's almost like like a couple of starts you're watching, and you're like, you can tell watching the race that he knows he's going to win the race long before he cuts him loose. It's always nice to watch, old crafty drivers. And I don't mean to say that Mr. Ranger's old. I don't know his age. I know he's older, but it's always nice to watch horsemen like that drive horses, and just a pleasure to watch him drive the horse. He's done a fantastic job with him, and Mark and Melissa have done a great job with him also. And then you look down the list. Globetrotting hasn't hit her best stride yet, but we know how good Globetrotting is. We've had her since day one. Just a beautiful filly mare. I hope she's back on track this week. I get the sense that her and James don't get along that well, but James still picked her on Tuesday, and I did want to be there for Tuesday, but really want to come down to, do you go to drive Sweet on Pete, who's had issues this year, or do you stay and drive Globetrotting, who really shouldn't have issues this year? I picked the first, and quite frankly, I own a considerable amount of Globetrotting myself and my partners. I own very little of Sweet on Pete, but I just felt for our clients, for our partners, that I'm not Superman, but I believe I may be more useful with Sweet on Pete than I would be with Globetrotting. We'll see. I hope I'm right. I hope that Globetrotting goes out and races well, and I hope that Sweet on Pete goes out and races well also. And then you look at our other horses. LD's Patrick's been a treat. We forget about him, right? Because he's been out in the field for a few weeks. LD's Patrick's no slouch. I dropped the ball a little bit. He probably could have come back in this week, and they actually picked up Unbeatable Kemp at the farm today. So I didn't look at the dates quick enough, and a light bulb didn't go off in my head. But he's due to come back in soon. Locatelli's almost ready to go. I know that Harry schooled him the other day. Knowing Harry, you'll want to school him at least once, if not twice more. Put at least one qualifier into him. He'll have him ready exactly when he said he'd have him ready. End of July, first week of August. Per Lucky has just been a nice horse for us. Kind of flies under the radar. He had a couple of really, really good starts for us. And then, like yesterday, we're like, he's fourth. They had mud fenders on. It was raining. The track was sloppy, and he was first over in 153-3. You can't ask much more from a horse like him. Just a really classy horse. And it was funny, I talked to Mr. Eaton last night. A great conversation. Very, very nice man that has Rosita's Dream and GJ's ATM out in Illinois for us. We had crossed paths before. Maybe he didn't know it. Maybe I didn't know it. Whether it be Michigan or Windsor when I was starting out. But a very nice man and a very good horseman. And I told him, I see the Open goes in Illinois for $12,000 or $12,300, I think it went for last week. And one of our clients, I'd said that, they said, "Wow, goes for twice as much in Scioto." Yeah, you're right. But he can get all of it out there and some of it here right now. So you may see Per Lucky surface in Illinois. Now, I think we probably should take advantage of that numbers of 9,000 or whatever class that he fits right now. And him and Yes are kind of tripping over each other right now. But we should take advantage of that class at least once with the decent purse money there. And then I think it might be worth sending him out to Illinois for a little while. I feel bad every time dropping the hammer on him every week where he never really gets a breather. Here he drops in an hours of 9,000 where he should have had a break, or maybe it was an hours of 12, and they go 53-3 in the mud. He ends up first over. It was nobody's fault, just the way the race unfolded and how fast it went. But man, that's hard on an older trotter like him. We've been very lucky to also get Sailor. I don't think we've even remotely seen the best races from Sailor. I think if we manage this horse right this winter, if we can find a little break for him somewhere this winter, this horse could be a real asset for us in Ontario. I really believe he will. And then we don't even talk about a horse like Stay Close. There's a horse that also won at 52-1 already. He never gets enough respect, this horse. He's got less starts than any of these major horses I'm about to talk about, and has already gone faster than all of them except for one. Horse, a really, really nice horse. I expect a bounce-back performance from him next week. Also, Jody's going to drive him. Little Judas jumped off to drive one of Mark Stacey's. I believe a political move. Well played. I hope Jody pounds him right into the ground. So stay close. A little bit of a break. Trained him up pretty good this week. I think he'll be ready for a good mile on Monday or Tuesday. On Tuesday. And then, of course, we got our stalwarts of the same year. White Tiger and Yes, come back. Lost both his front shoes last week. He didn't enjoy his trip to Oak Grove. Nothing wrong with him. He's fine. But Jason said he was a little rusty, a little pinchy today out in the track, so we got to get him reshod. He'll probably miss this week. I would love to see Per Lucky win the Nommers 9,000 this week in Scioto, and then maybe potentially head to Illinois and have Yes move right back into that class the following week. That would be best case scenario for us at the stable. So, and White Tiger, I mean, it took 6 years. 6 years for this knucklehead to finally figure out how to trot without hobbles on in a productive manner. James said he was wild hot the other day. He said, he's just feeling good. He wants to get at it. He said he's going to need to be wild hot. Don't be scared to go and qualify him in 54 or 55 this week, because you know that's where he's going to have to go the week after that. He's ready to go. I want to see one more stiff qualifier, but I want to see him do it right. That's important. So that's what I want to see from White Tiger in this Tuesday's qualifications. I know Amy's broke right out in hives because she's not going to be there. Amy and I and the kids are going to Scioto for Tuesday afternoon, so we're going to have to leave Monday night early-ish, or right after Ollie's ball game Monday maybe, or Tuesday morning very early to Scioto, so she's going to not be present for White Tiger's qualifier. You look at all the 2-year-olds I just told you. I told you there was 32 on my list that I still found very interesting in the year 2022 right now. Right now, 32. 19 of our horses have taken lifetime marks. 19 of our 2-year-olds have lifetime marks already. And then you look through our aged horses. Kings County, Patrick the Piranha, Globetrotting, LD's Patrick, Locatelli, Per Lucky, Sailor, Stay Close, White Tiger, and Yes. You might say to yourself, that's pretty good. I haven't even talked about the sophomores. The sophomores that have done us good or will do us good in the coming weeks and months. Blue Bayou Dio just set a track record in Kentucky. 53 flat on a 5/8 mile track. An incredible mile for that filly. She looks awesome right now. Going into the final as one of the prohibitive favorites. Should be a lot of fun with this filly for the rest of the summer. And I think we've worked out and forged a good relationship with Jason Robinson. He can take her to the Red Mile. And that might be another feather in our cap. Having somebody in Kentucky, very helpful. Bomb Hugger, she might have been flat today, but for the love of God, she's never raced flat in her life. Last week she was a little bit short. 2 weeks ago, I thought I'd rectify that because Crowder Splint trained her up real tight. I physically trained her faster at Northfield Park than she trotted today in her race. Something was up. Did that training mile precipitate today's flat mile? I have to believe there's a voice in my head saying yes. It is. So we'll see. I mean, nothing happened today. There was no blood, tiny bit of mucus, little tiny ulcer on her palate. Nothing serious. Nothing that can't be fixed and rectified quite quickly, certainly before her next race. So most of everything that might be wrong with Bomb Hugger right now can be rectified very, very quickly. Grace, we certainly haven't seen Grace's best foot. Should have been a winner at least 2 or 3 times in her last 5-6 starts. The other day, drew her blood from when she colicked. We still have some anomalies, some odd points, some odd spikes in her blood. The veterinarian has built a plan to work on that. I have with me new medication for her called Succeed. Very similar. It's a hindgut paste. It's supposed to help the filly out. I believe it's for hindgut. Anyway, there's a plan put in place right now between Cindy and the veterinarian to get this under control. We know what the problem is. We can see her blood equals those flat miles. There's definitely a correlation between the two. So fix the blood, fix the miles. Not really rocket science. So Grace's best races are definitely in front of her. Massive Profit's been racing quietly, been racing great all summer long. I love the way that Ross Leonard has managed this horse. He now has Mo Power Baby out there. Found a few little things with Mo Power Baby, which I always love to hear. I raced against his brother. I think it's his brother, Casey, out in Illinois on Friday evening. Really talented family of horsemen. I think, Casey and Ross are brothers. Their father's Terry, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Just probably another generation before Terry. Just sharp horseman. So very happy with what he's done for him. And now we see our other horses coming to life again. 1-2 Skip a Few. Finally got that elusive maiden victory in a pari-mutuel event. Looked great the other day. Thought she could have looked better, but looked great nonetheless the other day. Procrastinator also with his maiden victory in a pari-mutuel event the other day, and then come back 4 days later and race great again. Very happy. Very impressed with the tenacity of Procrastinator. He'll likely be back in with the trotting fillies next Thursday. Now, I know I don't like racing against each other, but Sister Solange, these are great classes. They're not a lot of money, but great for Sister Solange and a great prep for a horn player. We had a number of people say, hey, can we make the kindergarten next Friday with horn player? Absolutely not. I want to go to the kindergarten when I know I can win it. I don't want to go to the kindergarten and say, geez, I don't know if she's good enough. I don't know if she's ready yet. When we enter the state of New Jersey or Kentucky, there will be no doubt she is ready to go. And that's only fair to her and us.
Hazard reported ahead.
Why, thank you. Purple Aura's come back to life. See? You just got to continue to put that work in. Just continue to put that work in. And good horses will come back around. You see it with Sweet on Pete. You see it with Purple Aura. You're starting to see it now with 1-2 Skip a Few. I'm a little baffled as to why they needed this much work to get into this shape. But again, we're going to have to take note of that. Heading in. And it's not a horrible thing either. The stakes are all ahead of these fillies. Don't make no mistake, the bulk of Ohio stakes are starting to come up right now. So that they weren't great in the last 8 weeks or 6 weeks, not really the end of the world. But it is worth noting. And it has been noted. Who else we got? Red Overbach, new horse for us. We opted not to take this horse to Ottawa. Drew his blood. His AST was a little bit high enough not to take him all the way down the road to Ottawa. This is a horse that's very hyper to begin with. Not an ideal situation to ship a very hyper horse 5 hours, 6 hours down the road. Not the best idea. So we opted not to go there. We'll school him Tuesday instead. Get that AST down. His iron is really, really low. You got to be careful in this day and age, though, because iron is full of cobalt. You can't be pounding a bunch of iron to the horses close to the race. You'll get in big trouble. So you can give it after the race, like he can get it. But to be fair, I think the vets are saying 4 or 5 days out, stop running, big amounts of iron into the horses. And that leads me to my next question is, why is his iron low? Maybe he has ulcers. That might be, you see, hyper horse, big kind of lean hyper horse with low iron counts. You only have to take a step back and look at what you just said to say, probably got ulcers, right? So we're going to get some hindgut stuff for that guy also. Maybe we can split this box of Succeed and I'll get another one for him. Next week. That's always a possibility also. But a very nice horse. This is a horse. And everything that David Maneri had told me, I applaud his transparency. He was honest about what he said. Not really the horse for him. Thought he could help him. Turns out he is hot. He is a bit of a goofball. Not really Dave's cup of tea. He doesn't take the hard training very well. He frets. He worries. Just not his horse. Now, they took a bath on this horse. Regardless of what happens, we're not going to take a bath on him. Big, good-looking, high-gated horse like him, big, beautiful horse. He's still worth money no matter what we do. So, I'm certainly happy to get him at $57.5 rather than the $98 that I bid on him, or the $104 that Dave Maneri's crew paid for him. But happy with what I saw. I didn't see it, I heard it from Dominic. I looked at his blood. Everything Dave said, everything Dominic said, and everything the blood said all match up. All of it. So we should be able to help Red Overbach. Should be able to. So we'll see what happens there. Then we still got our horses that are racing good. Renegade Gypsy and Resolute Bay. We went back and forth about sending them down to Ottawa this week. I left it up to Mario and Harry. I think it was the best choice. They both were right at the end of the day. I think not sending Red Overbach changed my mind a little, but I don't think it changed theirs, and I don't think it should have. I think they're still in the right place on Sunday. They both drew good classes. I see Robert Shepard. You haven't seen Robert in forever. Is going to take over the drive on Resolute Bay. I thought Dougie was driving that horse, but again, these are decisions I leave up to Harry and Mario. Robert's certainly a capable reinsman and lives down that area now, so happy to use Robert on Red Overbach, and James is going to drive on Resolute Bay, and James is going to drive Renegade Gypsy. Slim Jimmy wasn't good and still finished second yesterday, trying to take his blood and figure out what went on there. Was it the shoeing? That's easy fix. Was it the blood? Whatever it wasn't serious, but he was flat. There's no two ways, there's no denying that. And Jason and I talked about it, and I said, neither of us has to say what he was. Just watch the way Brett drove him. Brett knew in the first turn that he wasn't awesome. He's 3-5 with the 9-5 shot behind him. Brett moves at the quarter pole 100% of the time. If that's the case, leaves the next favorite first over, bury him on the track, win. He didn't. He waited as long as he could to move him. Took him quite a while to dispatch a 15-1 shot on the front. And it looked, in fairness to Jimmy, he fought. It looked like he was going to be fourth in the last turn and ended up just beat. So a good mile for him. A good mile for him again. It's been great for the last 4, 5, 6 starts for him, but he was flat. Sweet on Pete has quickly gone from, oh my God, what's wrong with Sweet on Pete, to she might be one of the best fillies in Ohio again. She's tough. You gotta love this filly. I'll tell you one thing. It's easier when you're sitting behind her. It's hard for me to articulate to you why she's so likable. She is tough. Well, good for her. She's on fire right now also. So I opted to go drive her in Scioto in race 1. I could have made up some, excuse my language, I could have made up some bullshit excuse. Oh, I want to stay and drive Globetrotting, and hey, so-and-so will get along with Sweet on Pete. I've already heard that song. I've already seen that movie. I didn't like the ending on any of the sequels either. So I decided, you know what? If I'm going to the States, I'm going to go a day early, and I'm going to drive Sweet on Pete, just to make sure. If anything goes wrong, at least it's on me. And that's very important also. I could have went home from Northfield today and put somebody else on Bomb Hugger, but if that had happened with somebody else and I didn't have the answers that I already have now, that would have bothered me all night. It would have really frustrated me. I can tell you, with her, there's nothing that happened today that can't be fixed in a week, for sure. And I'm also almost sure that when I get this blood back, there's going to be a little bit higher number on the AST and a very low number on the CK, which is indicative of one thing. She probably tied up a little bit the day I scorched her in Northfield. I wanted her tight. I wanted her coming into Saratoga on her toes and razor sharp. I might have just pushed her a little too much. But that's fine. That's fine. She can bounce back. You're going to have to put that in the vaulty also. As far as the training with Bomb Hugger. I might be completely wrong. Maybe there's something else. Maybe your GGT was high. Maybe it was something else. But my point of view, driving down the road, looking over what took place, I think I know what happened. 3-point blue chip. We all forget about the best horse we ever had to date, for the most part. This was a horse that was going to go to the Hambletonian. This was our horse. Broke his foot. And he's miraculously on the road back. He's going to start jogging in a week, I believe. Incredible. An incredible story. And don't count this guy out, I'm telling you what. When he gets back, you're probably going to see the horse we've been waiting for. So super excited about that. Tie one on. Here's a filly. It was really good, then so-so, then bad. Then you're like, oh, what's wrong with her? Scott and Megan, and this filly's really how our relationship was forged. I've known Scott Zeron forever. I don't know, 15 years, I guess. And I don't know Megan well, but from talking to her on text, sharp girl, very good horsewoman. And these two guys did a tremendous job with Taiwan on. Clearly did a great job with Crantini, and really looking forward to forging a stronger relationship with them. Anytime you can get a strong stable with good hardworking people in it, and then, by the way, you can have one of the best drivers in the world drive the horses. We're very lucky to have James in Ontario, to have Scotty in wherever we need him to be if he's available. My other brother, Mark, although we haven't got a chance to use him, we're very fortunate in that regard. And I very much want to forge a relationship with them too, because we didn't really have anybody in the East Coast, right? So, Unbeatable Kemp, I know we're turning him out for a month, but this isn't because he's sore. This is by design. We have the ability to turn this horse out and focus on the fall and the winter with him. And who knows what kind of horse this guy could be if he gets it all together. He's not a stake horse in New Jersey. Can't race on Lasix, and I have no interest in racing him in the Red Mile. I'm not on Lasix when it's 7 trillion degrees out. Zero interest. So what's that mean? All that money he can make, he will make. But on our timeline. If we race him in Mohawk, he's still sharp. We race this horse in Mohawk, we can make all that money right now, but then it's made. Then he's tired, and he's up where he's going to be in tough with aged horses. It's going to be hard on him. We rest him now, bring him back razor sharp, a lot sounder. See what we have in the fall into the winter. We've never done that before. And I'm very interested to see what's about to take place with this horse. Will to Win Hanover, I know she never really trained that good on the front end before this filly, and she's found it an awful lot. Aged horses, and I think this is one of those times where you just look back at what just took place if you're a trainer or a driver and just say, wish I had done that differently. So I haven't talked to Julie and Andy about the filly. I'm certainly not going to call Julie Miller and Andy Miller and tell them what to do with a horse. I'm sorry. These are world-class trainers and drivers. And my 2 cents is just that. We decided we were going to give them this horse to train, and I'm going to give them the horse to, we've given them the horse to train, and I'm going to let it play out. We'll see what they come up with next. I do want to ask her. They got the PA All-Stars next Thursday. I'm going to send her a text message right now. So we'll see how that plays out with Will to Win Hanover. And the World for Two, we dodged a bullet. It's sound. Tim said he trained him in 2 minutes. I don't know whether he's going to put him in to go next week or school him or qualify him. That'll be up to Tim. But the good news is the horse isn't on the right line. Sound as a dollar and looking great. So dodged a little bullet with that dirty abscess that popped out of his foot, which is fine. We'll see how he is in the coming weeks. So I've been talking for 27 minutes about a group of horses that we have, and I never even mentioned a 2-year-old. I'm going to mention them in the 2-year-old section. You know who they are. As I said, I'm still surprised. I'm shocked to even say it out loud. 19 of our 2-year-olds have taken lifetime marks. It's an incredible start to the year. Super excited about Wednesday. Now, I did do a video. I haven't posted it yet. I'm posting it right now about Wednesday. Carter Michael Deal was a little flat training today. If his blood work doesn't come back good, he's scratched. The reason being, and the reason I don't care, is because he has an entire season of stake races ahead of him. An entire season. James believes, and still believed after everything that's gone on over the last 3 weeks, that Carter Michael Deal was our best horse. Okay. He had talked me into not even taking him to Pennsylvania. Had he not made the break last week, he would be in Ontario right now. So we scratch him. Enzo Aguayo, not that anybody matters, but John and I do. If his blood work does not come back better than it looked after he raced the other day, we have 5 days to work on it. If it doesn't come back better, he's scratched also. That still leaves us with, 5, I think? Oh, that's sunny. That's weird. That leaves us with 5 stake horses. Still have 2 sire stake horses. Grantini and our boy, he put on a show the other day. All right, I'm going to mention one. Spitfire Overseas and Tailgate Buzz. Did they ever look good? It's a great feeling to tell somebody this is a good horse and then watch them come out swinging. Tailgate Buzz went in 55-4 off a qualifier in 2-2. That's what he did. Yeah, nice horse. So we have been spoiled, and that's good. We put our place as a group. You and I, everybody decided this was the route we were taking. We bought good horses at the sale. We trained them down and put all the work into them, regardless of whether they were number 1 or number 50 on our list. They all got the same work. They all got the same lessons. And whether it's Austral Hanover, who surprised the hell out of me, or Spitfire Overseas, one of our best horses that is already doing it, we are off to some kind of a summer in 2022. So as we get past July 4th, we get a huge win with Swinging Senorita. Got through some stake races, one with Rosita's Dream, first lifetime start. Who would have thought that? In Illinois, everything worked out great this week. Horn Player still won. I was on edge watching her. And so happy. And then to go out and see Rosita's Dream and GJ's ATM do their work so well, the entire day worked out perfectly. So, I know I'm an optimistic person, and I'm sure there's people out there saying, well, my horse isn't, what about Brace for Landing? He's not ready to go yet. You just said Carter Michael Dio may not race this week. Not everything's going to work perfectly, nor is it supposed to. That's the beauty of horse racing, is that I love the other day, one of our clients, Marco, had said, Tailgate Buzz, he trained down so good, and everybody's thinking he might be a special horse, or a sire stake horse. And he could have been. And he may in the future. And then he went out and raced so terrible. His first start is so flat. You're thinking, oh man, here's a horse that we had such high hopes for, and then he gets to the track and he just looks ordinary. And then he comes right out the next week and wins in 56-2. That's why we have these horses, because it's such a rush and such a roller coaster, and that's what makes this the best game in the world, in my mind. So as I said, soak it all up every single day. We have a good day. Watch the videos before you go to bed. Breathe it all in, because the next day it may come all the way out again. So again, a great start, a great summer, a great feeling. I'm glad that we're all experiencing it together, and I can't wait for next week. Take care, everybody.